what I've come to understand about forgiving yourself, you have to kind of think of it like you would think of it if your friend did it. Okay. So like whatever it is you did, let's just imagine that you didn't do it, but your best friend did it. And your best friend comes to you and they say, hey man, I f***ed this up, dude. I did this thing 11 years ago. I still feel bad about it. I feel guilty about it. It's really messing with my head. What do you think? Okay. And what would you say to that person? And I think what most people would say is they would say, hey, look, dude, that's life. It happens. You made a bad choice. You've improved yourself. You're a different person now. We got to use those lessons and we got to keep moving down the path. And that's what you would say to that person if that person were your friend. I think most people would say something like that. Yep. If it was really bad, they say, well, that's really bad, bro. You shouldn't do that. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again. That's what a good friend would say, right? And so sometimes you got to be a good friend to yourself, and you got to treat yourself as you would treat your friend. What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this can't do that on the show, bro. You cannot do that.
What?
You're gonna chase away everybody.
What happened? What?
It's a little too urban for us.
What's wrong?
This is a show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to reality, guys. Today we have Q and AF. That's where you send in the Qs, and we give you the AFs. Now, you can submit your questions a couple different ways. The first way is...
Guys, email these questions in to askandy@andyfrisella.com. What?
It's like 50 Cent in 2005.
That motherfucker's like 10 cent. Or you can go on YouTube in the comments section of the Q&AF episode and drop your question in the comments there as well. Throughout the week, we're going to have shows within the show, okay? Today's Q&AF. This is where we start the week off and we get better. Tomorrow, we're going to have CTI. This is where we talk about what's going on in the world. That's called Cruise the Internet, for those of you that don't know. We put topics on the screen. We talk about what's going on. We speculate on what's true and what's not true, and then we talk about how we, the people, have to solve the problems going on in society. Other times throughout the week, we're going to have Real Talk. Real Talk is just 5 to 20 minutes of me giving you some real talk. And then we have 75 Hard Verses. That is where someone who has completed the 75 Hard program comes on the show, talks about how their life was before, how their life is now, and how you can use the 75 Hard program and the Live Hard program to transform your life as well. If you're unfamiliar with Live Hard and 75 Hard, it is the world's most popular mental transformation program in history. You can get it for free at episode 208 on the audio feed only. It is not on YouTube. We weren't on YouTube back then. So there's also a book. The book is available at andyfrisella.com. It's called The Book on Mental Toughness. It will outline the entire Live Hard program, top to bottom. Also, 10 extra chapters on mental toughness, why it's important and how you need to implement it in your life to get the most out of your life. And then we have a bunch of case studies on some very famous people that you will recognize. It talks about how they use mental toughness to become the people that you recognize. All right. We have a fee for the show. The fee is not a subscription. We don't ask you to buy shit. But we do ask you that if the show makes you think, if it makes you laugh, it gives you a new perspective, if you get some good information, please share the show, all right? We're always battling censorship, shadow bans, traffic throttling, you name it. We talk about all the stuff on the internet that you're not supposed to talk about, which is some total bullshit. But anyhow, if we want the message to get out, we need your help. So we have this thing called the fee. You're going to notice I don't run ads on the show. I'm probably the only show in the world that's this large that doesn't run ads. I could make 8 figures running ads. I don't do it because I have businesses and I fund the show myself. And I don't want anybody telling me what I can and can't say. And in exchange for that, I just want a little bit of help from you guys, all right? I want you to share the show. I want you to put it out there. I want you to have conversations about it. So do me a solid. We'll do you a solid. Don't be a hoe.
Share the show.
All right.
You know, I was thinking about your little comment there.
Which one?
You called me you said 10 cent?
10 cent. Really, you're like 90 cent.
Well, you say 10 cent. That makes me a dime, and I'll take it.
I misspoke. I meant 90 cent. You got to lean down a little bit to get to 50 cent, bro. Yeah. Yeah. 50 cent. 50 cent is pretty jacked. Yeah. You know, you got to get a little leaner. You get down to 50 cent.
Listen.
You get down to 250 cent.
250 cent?
Yeah.
350.
Yeah. No. 2 dose.
What's going on, man?
Nothing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Hey.
got my man. 50 Cent was jacked back. Like he's still in good shape, but
Mhm.
I mean, dude, when he came out with his first album, yeah, and he had in the club, yeah, and he's wearing that bulletproof vest on stage. He's all jacked.
Bro, it was
Fucking
yoked.
dude was yoked.
I remember he tried to do that movie where he had like cancer or some shit. Do you remember that? Yeah, he shouldn't do that.
Anyway,
But yeah. You know what I'm talking about? You don't know what I'm talking about?
nah, man.
You didn't see that movie?
Nope.
Look.
What's it called?
What was it called? I don't know, but it looks bad. Look. Oh,
I mean,
shit, motherfucker. God damn it. These goddamn computers get me every time.
well, you know what they say.
You didn't see that movie? Were you like,
Holy shit, is that him?
that's him.
Oh no, I never saw that. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
He lost all that weight.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be like him. It wasn't him getting cancer. Was that him? The story of him getting shot or something? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Did he really lose all that weight?
Yeah.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Shouldn't do that.
Shit, man, he looks like he should be hijacking boats and fucking Somalia. What?
I am the captain now.
Yeah, that's right. Fucking 50 Cent, the captain.
He gonna steal your 50 cent.
Anyway, hey, this is Q&AF, man.
It's Q&AF.
All right,
Supposed to be making people better.
that's right.
Hey, and we're doing that.
We
with-
started off with a little laugh.
Hey, it's all right.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. Well, guys, Andy.
You know, it's scientifically proven that laughter makes you healthier.
Wait.
Will you fucking find me a new co-host? Bro, we serious?
I'll put some applications out.
Please. I am taking applications for a new co-host. All right. So leave your suggestions in the comments section right here on the show. And by the way, those of you who only listen on audio, you should probably watch it on YouTube. I think you would like it.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, new co-host applications. I'm welcoming them. Feel free to drop your application in the comments.
Yep.
We'll go from there.
Yep.
All right.
Plenty of mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Coming your guys. Andy,
What?
I got some good ones for you, man.
I know you
I do
do.
got some good ones for you.
I know you do.
Let's
Let's
get
put our game faces on.
Yeah, game
All right?
faces.
Stop messing around. I've been trying to keep this.
You ready?
I can read the questions to myself. We can just do it that way. All right.
All right. Let's get into these,
Don't
man.
you forget? Don't you remember what I said about people that wear their hats backwards?
No.
Clearly.
What'd you say?
We have to go back and listen.
On what episode?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, really? Is that
We
real?
certified it. Anyway.
Sal does this all the time.
All right, let's do the show.
All right, come on, guys. Let's get it.
Yeah,
all right.
Stop messing around. We got people trying to get better here, and you're
It's
just
real. No, we're gonna make them better.
grab assing and shit.
Think of popping each other's assholes. All right, guys. Any questions? Huh?
That's not what grab assing means. What'd you say?
I think he said grabbing assholes.
I think that's what he said too.
No, that's not what I said. It's a finger popping. You guys never seen 22 Jump Street?
All right, let's just move on. Let's get to the.
Bro,
let's get
it's
to
a
the
great.
meat.
It's a great movie.
Which one? There's two of them.
No, that was the first. That was 21 Jump Street. Yeah, the new ones.
Okay.
Yeah, they're good.
Do you know who was in the original?
Yeah, it was Kevin Bacon and forgot who was the other. It was Kevin Bacon. Yeah, I've seen the original one.
You have?
Mm,
Dang. I'm actually impressed you've seen it.
yeah. Yep.
All right, let's go. Damn, dude, we're 8 minutes
what
in.
we
Everybody
doing?
else already turned this shit off.
Guys, Andy, question number one. Andy, I'm 36 and I run a team of 20 people in my business. My team has become so used to the typical culture building activities, top golf, bowling, dinners, axe throwing, etc., that I feel like they don't really enjoy them anymore. What's the best way to completely realign an entire company and hit home the meaning of a winning culture and playing as a team? How do you do that?
By winning. Okay, you can have all the barbecues you want. You can go play all the golf you want. You can go out to all the dinners you want. You can go to Top Golf. You can hold hands. You can sing Kumbaya. You can do all that shit, bro. But nothing bonds a team like winning. That is the bottom line. And a lot of you guys think you're going to substitute actually winning and performing for things that are, like having a pizza party in the company kitchen. And that's just not going to do it, guys. Ultimately, the way that people respect and love and enjoy working together is because they struggle, they overcome, and then they celebrate together on the unified effort to overcome the problem with the solution. So if you really want to build a good culture, obviously there's I could talk about this for a week straight. I could do a whole week workshop, but I'm going to summarize it in 2 minutes. You got to win. Okay. So those things that you're trying to do will take on a different meaning when you are kicking ass. All right. So what do you got to do to get your team to win? How do you get them to get focused? How do you get them to all row in the same direction? How do you get them to understand what they're trying to do? You have to be very clear about what the mission is. You have to be very clear about what the values are, the framework, so to speak, about how you're going to operate to get where you want to go. And then you have to be very clear about actual performance expectations and making sure that people hit them. And if you can do those things, you'll start to produce wins. And it won't matter if you're sitting out back with a Weber kettle having some burgers, or if you're in Vegas at a pool party, or if you're at the Vatican, or whatever you do to bond your team, traveling, activities, it won't matter. It'll be awesome. So winning is the key component that most people lose when they try to build a culture. They try to have a mediocre company that produces mediocre results and then have amazing culture. And you can't have that. You can't, there's not a medium, think of it in sports. There's not a team that goes 500 that has an awesome culture. It doesn't exist. No. It doesn't matter how much you do, how much you train, all these things that you do to try to build it or manufacture it. Great culture ultimately comes from working together and then overcoming obstacles together. This is why great football teams or great sports teams, that bond is developed in the training. It's developed in the suffering. It's developed in the two-a-days or the hard practices where everybody else isn't out there and it's 100 degrees and you're sweating your ass off. And then you start to win because of those actions that you did collectively. Those are the things that actually produce great culture. And so I feel like a lot of companies try to Band-Aid that lack of winning with a positive culture, and you have to understand it doesn't work. You're never going to have a team that's losing. You're never going to have a team that's 500. You're never even going to have a team that's okay, like pretty good, that has a great culture. Great culture legitimately comes from winning, and then you can refine it. You can direct it. You can bring it in so that it self-replicates and becomes the actual feeling of the business, right? Just like when you walk into your favorite restaurant and you get a feeling. There's a reason you go there because it feels a certain way. And a lot of you guys want your company to feel that way, but you can't do that unless you actually teach your people how to win first. And that requires a direction, that requires a framework. And then, you start to harness it in and direct it where you need it to go over the course of time. And it becomes a living, breathing, actual organism that doesn't necessarily need you to think about it all the time because the team, what do you say you had, 80?
30, 20 people.
20? That's enough people for it to regulate itself. So like when a new person comes in, those people will make sure that the new person fits the culture. And if they don't fit the culture, they'll weed them out. So this is what we do in Arte, guys. Like if you wanted to join artesyndicate.com, that's what Ed and I do. We teach these kind of things in depth. We put on a number of workshops throughout the year to really teach these things in depth. But ultimately, guys, good culture comes from winning. It doesn't come from a sign you hang in the locker room. It doesn't come from some values you put on the wall that you don't live by, you don't communicate by, you don't hire by, you don't fire by. And that's what people think culture is. People think that culture is an accident, which is a big mistake. And then they also think that it's just as simple as defining a mission statement and some core values and like making some cool signs that go on the wall that say shit like integrity, right? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? And they don't coach on it. They don't talk about it. They don't relate it to people. And it becomes just a sign. How many of you guys played a high school sports where they had some sticker on the wall that said, effort, right? What the fuck does that mean?
Right.
And so there's a lot to this when it comes to creating a great business culture. But ultimately, it's going to come from the small wins, and then you build upon that. And just trying to take them to Topgolf or this or that, that's not going to get it done, bro. You need to have some wins to start building on it.
Yeah, I love that, man. I think also, too, man, another thing is like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like a lot of people always typically see the end result of what somebody else is doing, right? And they copy that, thinking that that's going to get them there. When in reality, it was a lot of work that was put in
a process
before that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's true, bro. You know, it takes years and years and years to build a strong culture in an organization, whether that be a football team, baseball team, a church, a company. It doesn't matter. The organizations are all the same. You're taking a big group of people and you're getting them aligned and you're getting them to move a certain direction. And that takes time because you can't do that in a day. You can't do it in a week, and you can't do it without resistance. The minute you start to try to redefine what your culture is and you try to redefine that, you're going to lose people. This is why, like, when teams do rebuilding, they fucking get rid of everybody. They get rid of all the coaches. They get rid of all the players that are any good, and they say, fuck it, we're starting over, because the culture needs to be built from the bottom up. And a lot of people don't want to put the effort in. They don't want to put the time in. They don't know how to. They think that culture building, you know, a lot of people look at Bill Belichick, right? Yeah. Or Nick Saban, and they think like, fuck, dude, he just gets all the players, so like he's just great. No, dude, these guys are masters at what I'm talking about, okay? They know how to do this from the ground up. And they know how to do it with any kind of player, by the way. St. Louis Cardinals is a great organization to talk about culture, all right? They're here in St. Louis, where we're from. You know, we very rarely go out and sign big stars. All of our players come from the bottom and work their way up through the farm system and become stars, and then we win with those. You know, St. Louis is one of the winningest teams in all of baseball history, and we come from one of the smallest markets, and it's because the culture is so strong, and it actually permeates out from the team into the fan base. And that's the part where a lot of you guys want, because you look at companies that have fanatical fan bases, but you don't even have fanatical employees. So how the fuck are you going to have fanatical fan base without fanatical employees? You can't. And you think that solving it is going to be like, oh, we got a cake for Karen's birthday. Hey, guess what, guys? We got Karen's birthday today, we got a cake. Like, that's not culture either. Okay, motherfuckers want to win. They want to kick ass. They want to beat people's ass. Human beings are competitive, dude. They're not docile, average, fat little slobs by default. We're fucking warriors, bro. And we want to win. And when you unlock someone's potential to want to win by showing them what a win feels like, it changes everything in them. So decide where you're going. Develop a mission statement, develop some values that create the framework. We are going to move forward within this framework. We are not going to do unethical things. We are going to all the things you want your company to represent. Define those things, start moving forward, and make sure that you're winning. And when you start to win, it won't matter what culture building things you do. You can't Band-Aid this. It's honestly, dude, real talk. If you're interested in doing this, you need to join Arte. That's the truth, because we talk about this. It's literally the entire foundation of what we talk about, of how to build a company. When we're not in there, this isn't personal coaching. This isn't, you know, fucking kumbaya. I'm not going to get in there and show you how to build a fucking funnel or do any e-com shit. That's not what we do. I trust that you know how to do some of that stuff. What we do is we teach you how to build a fucking company. Okay, so for those of you that want to build a company and you want to build a solid company that makes a difference and makes a fuck ton of money and kicks everybody's ass, Arte is the place to go. And there's nobody else out there that can teach it, because none of these other motherfuckers have done that.
Yeah, I fucking love it, man. Guys, Andy, question number 2. Andy, I'm 33 years old. My question is very simple. How do you forgive yourself for a mistake you made in the past? When I was 22 years old, I made a really bad decision, and I have paid the price and accepted the consequences. But here I am 11 years later, and while I made right my wrongs, I'm still paying for it. How does one truly forgive themselves?
Well, look, I think that's a hard thing, especially for a highly driven person. Because if you're an ambitious, I'm assuming that you are a driven, ambitious person, or you probably wouldn't listen to the show. When you're a highly driven, ambitious person, you hold high standards for yourself and the people around you. And because you hold such high standards for the people around you, you inadvertently usually hold even higher standards for yourself. So this is a common problem with people who are leaders, who are people who understand the weight of leadership that they have. And when they make mistakes, it's usually pretty hard for them to let it go. But what I've learned is a couple things. One, being a leader that never makes mistakes, or being a human that never makes mistakes, is not admirable in any way, shape, or form. Your power is in the lessons that you've learned from the mistakes that you've made. And if you've made some big mistakes, that means you've got some big fucking power and you understand some big lessons about life that a lot of people don't. So what I would make you understand is that you need to lean into that and start sharing those lessons that you've learned with other people so that they understand what you've learned without having to go through the process. That's the first thing. The second thing is when you do that, people respect you more. People respect people who are honest about who they are and transparent about who they are, whether it's good or whether it's bad. You know, there's a lot of people on the internet that want to pretend like they're infallible and they're perfect, and those people get attacked hardcore because everybody knows that none of us are perfect. This is why I come on the show all the time and I tell you guys, bro, I'm the farthest thing from perfect. I have literally made every single fucking mistake in my life that you could possibly fucking make, okay? So I understand what it's like to and it's probably why you guys listen to me, because I made all those fucking mistakes and I know a lot of answers, all right? So don't shy away from being just honest with yourself. Like, hey, yeah, I fucked up, bro, but here's what I learned, and I can help other people with that. Then, as I was saying, the second part is that when you are transparent and you are a human being, people respect you more. They say, okay, that dude's been through some shit. He owned it. I can learn from him. I respect that he's working through it, and it makes people feel better about you, not worse. I think people have an underlying fear where they think, like, if they find out this thing about me, they're going to think I'm a piece of shit. Maybe, but probably only if you lie about it. If you actually told the truth and say, yeah, man, I made a terrible decision. I was a different person then. Yeah. And you just kind of say what I think people really identify with that because, dude, we're all that. All of us are that. These social media people that pretend like they're perfect, they're lying, dude. This is a lie. All of those people have I actually believe the people who have the most polished image on the internet are the people with the most skeletons in their fucking closet. Okay? So when you look at these people and they make you feel bad because they seem like they've never made a mistake, like these pastors and shit online who try to like make it, you know what?
Just wait a couple of years and look at the headlines and we'll come out after that.
Right. and dude, listen, it's just not true. The human experience involves bad decision making and then dealing with the consequences of those decisions. There's not a human being that's ever lived in the entire history of Earth that has ever got around that, okay? Besides Jesus, okay? Let's be real. So when we think about like what we're looking at and what we're comparing to, remember that when you're comparing yourself to a bunch of people that appear to be perfect, they have just as many things in their past as you do that they're just not talking about. Because they're afraid, like I said in the first part, that people are going to find out and judge them harshly. And they're refusing to step into their obligation to teach people the lessons that they've learned from making those hard mistakes because they're embarrassed. All right? I don't think there's a lot of nobility in that. So with all that being said, how do you forgive yourself? And that's a hard thing, man, because like I have struggled with this myself because anybody that's around me knows that I hold very high standards for everybody around me. And so when I don't hold those standards, I'm 10 times harder on myself than I am on anybody around me. And I think we all are if we have integrity and we are driven human beings that have high expectations. So what I've come to understand about forgiving yourself, aside from all the things I just mentioned, is like, you have to kind of think of it like you would think of it if your friend did it, okay? So like whatever it is you did, let's just imagine that you didn't do it, but your best friend did it, okay? And your best friend comes to you and they say, hey man, I fucked this up, dude. I did this thing 11 years ago. I still feel bad about it. I feel guilty about it. It's really messing with my head. What do you think? Okay, and what would you say to that person? And I think what most people would say is they would say, hey, look, dude, that's life. Shit happens. You made a bad choice. You've improved yourself. You're a different person now. We got to use those lessons and we got to keep moving down the path. And that's what you would say to that person if that person were your friend. I think most people would say something like that.
Yeah.
If it was really bad, they say, well, that's really bad, bro. You shouldn't do that. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again. That's what a good friend would say, right? And so sometimes you got to be a good friend to yourself, and you got to treat yourself as you would treat your friend. So that's how I deal with those things. Like the things I've done in my past that I'm not proud of, I until probably the last 3 or 4 years, I carried that shit. And then I realized, well, hold on, dude. Everybody else has a bunch of fuck ups too. What the fuck, And then I started realizing, well, how do I get over that? What would I say to my brother if he said that to me? Or what would I say to Chris? Or what would I say to DJ if they came to me? Well, I would say, hey, you're a dumbass. Why the fuck you do that? Don't do that again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What you learned from it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we have to talk to ourselves as if we're talking to our best friend, and instead of just beating ourselves into nothing over these mistakes. And I found that to be the best way to actually forgive yourself, and obviously, whatever it is that you're holding, part of the forgiveness process is, if possible, is trying to make that right. But outside of that, man, you got to chalk it up to a lesson and keep moving forward. That's what life's about.
What makes me think too, man, like what's the other option? You're going to go another 11 years and...
Well, you're going to go next 30 years?
Right.
Because you did one thing?
Right.
I mean, look, man, there's things that happen, bad things happen. Look, man, I don't know. I just think that that's part of the life experience,
Yeah.
You can't carry that shit through your life and let it bury you. Would you want that for your friend?
Right. No. Yeah, right.
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 So why would you do that to yourself? That doesn't make sense. Sometimes you got to be your own best friend.
I love it. Guys, Andy, third and final question. Andy, I'm 17 years old. I know it's going to take some time, but I want to have a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
What would you say is the number one skill that pays the bills? I want to be able to do anything I want, help my family, set my future kids up. And also, what's more practical? Do you get one of your tools in my tool belt really sharp, then move on to the next one? Or do I level each skill and tool in my belt at the same time? Like, do I focus on building one up and then focus on the next? I just feel that personal development can be a little overwhelming sometimes, trying to figure out where to go first.
The reason it's overwhelming for you is because you're trying to create the perfect product before you go. That's not how it works. You have to go, and then along the way, you acquire the skills. All right. So a lot of people, and I'll get to the meat of this question here in just a second, but I want you to understand this. A lot of people think they can just read and consume and go to seminars, and they're going to develop all these skills, and then they're going to go and it's just going to work. That's not how the fuck it works. You could go to seminars, you can read, you can join coaches and things like that, but all they're going to do is give you the direction. There's still the work you have to do. It's no different than being on a diet. I can tell you what the fuck to do, but unless you go do it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't work. So understand that. It's go, then learn, not learn, then go. All right. And that's where most people never even get past that. In terms of what the skills are and how you develop them, there is basically 3 main skills that will take you from a place of no money to a place of however much money you want to get, depending on how far you want to take it. And those 3 skills are sales, management/leadership of people, and the third one is being able to take initiative for a project and see it through from beginning to end without anybody else's help. Okay, most people can't do any of those, and they want some gigantic paycheck for showing up to work or starting a company, like we talked about on last Q&AF, where people think they just start a company and they're entitled to some sort of high-level lifestyle, or because they show up to work, they're entitled to some high-level paying position. No, you have to trade your value for the money. That's how it fucking goes. So when we think about these 3 skills, sales, management, leadership, and then initiative to see a project from beginning to end, these are the 3 rarest skills in any company. Okay. So 1, sales. How do you learn to sell? By putting yourself in a position where you have to sell over and over and over again. And a great way to do this, by the way, this is not an e-com funnel. This is not through the internet. This is not drop shipping. I'm legitimately talking about putting yourself in a retail environment or an environment where you have to talk to people to learn to sell. The reason why you can't just do this through e-com is because the principles that apply to creating ads that work, you will actually learn face-to-face through these reps, okay? So if you want to learn sales the fastest way possible, you need to put yourself in a position where you are talking to people and selling them either on the phone or in person many, many times a day, 30, 40, 50 times a day, okay? That will sharpen your sales skill set as quickly as you possibly can. Management leadership, that will come after you've become successful at selling, because if you're a great salesman, eventually you will be asked to train other salesmen. You will be asked to lead or organize other salesmen, which, by the way, just because you can sell doesn't mean you can manage salesmen, all right? It's a totally different skill set, and you need to fucking understand that. So once you're great at selling, you're going to be asked, hey, here's 5 salespeople. I want you to run this team. Now you have to learn how to lead and manage. That's a whole different skill set. And guess how you're going to do that? The same way you learned the first one. Reps. Over and over and over and over and over again. Making mistakes, learning. Consuming all the information. Following great leadership. Reading great leadership books like Vince Lombardi books or John Wooden books or anything that Jocko has written. These are amazing leadership resources that will help you quicken the process, but won't do the process for you. You still have to go do it. And then after that, the third skill will sort of materialize because you have developed the 2 main skills, which are sales and marketing and leadership. And then along the way, there'll be a number of projects that you have to come up with and then develop and put out as a finished product, right? Whether that be a new system of operations, an SOP, or some sort of procedure or whatever. You're going to say, okay, we have a problem here, or it could be a product. We could make a product here because it could be in sales, right? This product would sell. Here's how we develop it. All the way, I developed this product, I'm selling it. Look at this. That's what entrepreneurship about. If you're an entrepreneur, that might be inside of a business. Hey, I think this would work. You build the product, build the solution, take the presentation to your higher ups and say, look, this will work. This is how I did it. I did it from idea to finished concept. All we got to do is write the check and I'm going to go sell them a fuck ton of this shit. Those people are valuable, dude. Like they're infinitely valuable. If you can learn these 3 skill sets, you can write your fucking paycheck legitimately, because if your company won't fucking pay it and you actually have those skills, like you truly have those skills. I'm not talking about all you motherfuckers that think you're great at what the fuck you do, yet you don't have any dollars in your bank account. Okay? How can you be great at what you do if you don't have any dollars in your bank account? Yeah. That is a misunderstanding of your value, which is a lot of people have. A lot of people believe they are way more valuable than they are, when the reality of their value tells them the story. They just refuse to look at it. They don't look at their house. They don't look at their cars. They don't look at the money they're making. And they think, well, I'm getting fucked. No, you're not good enough, bro. You are not skilled enough. Because if you were, your company might not pay you, but somebody else's will. Okay? So once you start to understand the true value of your skill set and you're producing results, bro, you walk in the boss's office and say, hey, bro, I'm the best at this, I'm the best at this, I'm the best at this. I did this, I did this, I did this. I built this person, I developed these people, I saw this project through. Ain't nobody else in here doing this shit. I'm worth this. And I love you, but if you don't pay me that, I'm a over here. Mm-hmm. Okay? And that's how you do it. You gotta hold your fucking boss hostage. Like, and I hate to say that because I'm fucking boss, right?
Yeah, but that's how it works.
No, the truth is, if I had a motherfucker that come to me and has all those skill sets and he says, hey, this, I'm going to say, all right. Because, like, I don't want to take the time to develop that person all over again. You see what I'm saying? That's years and years and years and years. So, but dude, going back to last Q&AF, if you haven't listened to last Q&AF, we covered this. A lot of people believe that they are much better than they really are. Okay. And you have to be able to observe the objective reality of where you are. It's not like if your friends and family are gassing you up and telling you you're great, guess what? That don't mean shit. Okay. If your coworkers are telling you how great you are, that don't mean shit. All right. Joe, if you're producing some music and everybody in the building says that it's great, does that mean anything? No, it doesn't mean anything because they're biased. They love Joe. What really matters is what the fucking market says. Does the market say? Do people that don't know you say you're good? Do people that have no idea who you are look at your work and say, fuck, bro, that's amazing? That's where you start to know if you're actually good. And a lot of you guys just lacked the ability because you've grown up in an entitled society where everybody gets a trophy, everybody's taught that they are special and great, and it's just not true. You're not great. You're not special. You got to earn it like everybody else, and that's not a dig at you, but if you go through your life thinking that you're going to be entitled to get shit for not being very good, you're going to be unsuccessful. And I'm not doing you any favor by blowing smoke up your ass about that. Like, bro, you're not good enough. If you were good enough, you'd be getting fucking paid.
Yeah.
So those are the three skills: sales, management/leadership, which there's nuances to both. They're not the same thing, but they're close enough to be put together. And then the ability to see a project from beginning to end that will either help your company or the company that you're a part of. And there's probably a fourth skill there too, which I would consider like a second level skill under the leadership management part. If you have the ability to replicate yourself by leading other people and coaching them. So let's say you develop this amazing skill set for sales. You're a pretty good leader and you understand how to take initiative and finish projects. And then you're able to train other people to do that. And you have all three of those skills, bro, you're fucking untouchable. You'll run everybody else to fuck over.
Yeah, I love it. Let me ask you this, Andy, because I think you mentioned this whole, you got to learn. People think they have to learn and then go, when in reality it's go, you learn, right? Now, when we talk about, along this road, these skills that come up, these mistakes you make that you learn from, and all of these things, right? Is that I feel like the biggest thing here that we gotta hit on, what I'm trying to hit on, is awareness, being aware of these are actual skills coming my way. These are actual lessons from these mistakes I can learn. Versus, where you are now versus 20 years ago, 25 years ago. What's the difference look like as far as actually sharpening these skills that you have versus acquiring them in the first place?
The biggest difference between where I was when I was 19 and where I'm at 44 was that at 19, 20, 21, 22, probably the first 10 years I was in business, if I made a mistake, I dwelled on the mistake for a period of time before I was willing to accept what it taught me. All right. So I wasted a lot of time collectively because you make a lot of mistakes in your first 10 years of business.
You're just pissed off.
Okay. Yeah, so listen, think about it like this. Just think about it in math terms. You make a mistake in year one, you spend 2 weeks down about it, and then you learn a lesson. Then you make another mistake right after that. Then you spend 2 weeks down about it. Then you accept the lesson. All right. And you add up all those 2 weeks over the course of 10 years, and you're talking about a massive amount of time that could have been saved had you just accepted the lesson right away and not dwelled on it. We have to understand that the quicker that we can get over it and accept the lesson, the more time we have to move forward, the quicker we will get where we want to go. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, man.
Okay, so that's the biggest difference between younger entrepreneurs and older entrepreneurs. And by the way, if you're a young entrepreneur and you actually listen to what I'm telling you, you can learn to do that right now and you could save yourself a shit ton of time. It took me fucking 20 years to figure that out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like
it took me legit 10 years to really figure it out. And it took me another 5 to fucking like master it.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's an awareness thing, man. Like being aware that, hey, this is not bad. There's good in this. Like I can use this, man.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking awesome, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I love it. Guys, Andy, that was 3.
Yep. All right, let's get out there and kick ass this week, guys. Don't be a hoe.
Share the show.